I live in a mountain-walled inlet of the Salish Sea. To my people, the settlers who first arrived 2 centuries ago, this coastal inlet is Howe Sound. To the Squamish peoples who have lived here for millennia, these waters are Atl'kitsem. For 20 years I have explored these waters, but mostly during the summer months. I have met many of my wild neighbors, but I do wonder, what does wild nature get up to in the off-season? So I've decided to pay attention through the coming autumn, winter, and spring to get a richer understanding of Howe Sound Atl'kitsem's web of life. I do admire the Squamish tradition of being alert to nature all through the seasons, and I, in my own way, want to do this too. It's mid-October and I'm excited. I'm up in the Squamish River Valley, about an hour by car from the waters of Howe Sound. The chum salmon are back from the North Pacific, the run is on, and I'm here to see them. I find a clear water tributary where I can get my camera down in with the chum. The spawning dance is on. Males jockey with males for position beside a female. And I watch a male chum salmon struggle across a gravel bar, fueled by a tenacious drive to return home. And all along the shore, a litter of dead chum carcasses are a bittersweet reminder that salmon come home to make new life, then die. But as I watch the chum, I realize there is a much bigger story going on all around them. Eagles are just everywhere, feasting on salmon carcasses and in between, roosting in nearby trees. And I watch a gull dive for salmon eggs. I had no idea they could do this. Dippers I expected to see, and they're here, hunting the stream floor for salmon eggs. But I'm completely caught off guard when I see one do a deep dive. Later, I walk the far bank. Grizzly tracks, probably feeding here last night. Just back in the forest, I find lots of fresh carcasses. This is the work of bears, fed well enough that they often just eat the fat, rich brains. And as the carcasses rot, their nutrients feed the forests. Truly, these are salmon forests. And then, across the stream, a black bear walks out of the forest, here to fatten up for the hibernation ahead. Time for me to go. But I leave knowing that these ocean salmon breathe life into this mountain valley. And what a rich reminder of how connected the ocean is to the land. By late October, the autumn rains have set in. I hear some good news. There are humpback whales still about, yet to head south. Humpbacks in Howe Sound were hunted to extinction by 1908. And the hunt went on in the North Pacific right up to 1966. But now, humpbacks are in recovery. In 2009, the first humpback in 100 years returned to Howe Sound, and they've been coming back ever since. But for all my time watching, I've yet to see them. One morning, I get a call. It's a friend. She's watching a whale from her deck. I drop everything and go. Deborah points out the whale. It's a humpback.
Look at the tail.
The next day is stormy, but I've just got to be out there. Far off, I see a spout. Then, closer by. A better day follows. so I kayak to a nearby lookout perch. I've seen schools of anchovy nearby, so I'm hoping the whales will return again to feed. An hour passes, then 2. I am watching 2 nearby eagles when the whale is so big and so graceful and so seemingly calm as it goes about its feeding. And then something I have been waiting 30 years to see. Welcome back. Since November, the winter ocean waters have been clear and cold. No plankton and no river mud. Beautiful, but rather empty, with so much life in hibernation. But many seabirds come here to feed all winter. So I seek them out because they are the liveliest part of the winter ocean. On a bright January day, I head out looking for my favorites, scoters. I've seen big flocks feeding along shorelines, and I'd really like to know what they eat. I notice a flock near an island, so I quietly land and climb a cliff for a view. The surf scoters are just offshore. And my luck, they're coming right at me. Just below me, they dive. Then surface en masse. Startled, they flee in a flurry, only to regroup and return. Then they move off. I grab my face mask. I'm really curious to see what they've been feeding on. There are big empty patches in the mussel beds. All that's left is a litter of broken barnacle. And look who's here. Hundreds of perch have moved in, gorging on the leftovers. I'd never have guessed. It's early April, the days are longer, snow is melting in the high country, and new life is everywhere. In the ocean, I now see blooms of plankton, a soup of microscopic plants and animals. And this gets me wondering, after a lean winter, is the rest of the food web going to now perk up? Well, it turns out I don't have to wonder long. I'm out paddling, and I come into a great swirl of gulls. Seals are everywhere. I lower my camera. A giant school of anchovy fills the bay. They are feeding, mouths wide open, straining the ocean's new plankton. Suddenly, the ocean erupts with flying anchovy, fleeing seals below. And then I notice there's a sea lion feeding as well. Wow, this spring ocean sure has perked up. In early May, my brother Tim and I are curious to see if the shorelines are busy yet with summer life. We explore shorelines the way otters do. In the water sometimes, sometimes out. We call it otter tripping. Today we're poking along the southeast shore of Gambier Island. I find a tide pool. Protected from the ocean swell, this quiet aquarium lets me watch my tiny neighbors in close detail. Mussels filter feeding, crabs scavenging, urchins grazing algae, sculpins hunting, and barnacles sweeping for food. It sure looks like the intertidal zone is in full summer swing. Back in the ocean, crabs are everywhere. And perch are by the thousands. Tim spots a sea cucumber, a slow-moving algae grazer. And we marvel at a line of purple sea stars slowly eating their way up through a bed of mussels. Everywhere, life is busy. It all feels like we're back to summer. So summer is coming. Looking back, what a gift this year has been. I have witnessed a few strands in this coastal inlet's web of life. So rich, so connected, so precious, so precarious, so worth standing up for. Howe Sound, Atl'kitsem. What a place to call home.